Carson was doing several different jobs, including bartending and a lacrosse coach, and several other things when he took the leap into real estate, and he's never looked back. In this episode, Carson shares his approach to the business, his client relationships, and gives advice that will benefit anyone in real estate.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
Hello, and welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. I'm your host, Tina Lapp. I'm head of industry relations and career excellence at Colibri Real Estate. I've been in real estate education for over 30 years, helping individuals enter and thrive in their real estate careers. We are here today with Carson Erickson. Carson, welcome to the podcast. Will you introduce yourself, where you live, and what company you're with?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. My name is Carson Erickson. I live in Forest Lake, Minnesota, and I serve kind of the surrounding areas of the Twin Cities, more on the northern side. And then I'm with Call It Closed International Realty, and I'm a part of the Clausen Home Group team.
Wonderful. And thanks again for joining us. So, Carson, we're going to start at the beginning of your journey here in real estate. And can you start with telling us what inspired you to start a real estate career?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I kind of grew up around it. So my stepmom's a real estate agent, my mom's a loan officer, and my dad's a financial advisor. And they all have their own investments. And I was able to kind of grow up in that world and see, what that can offer and kind of lifestyle that you can have just with the flexibility as well as the income aspect of it. So I felt like it was kind of a natural calling for me. And so I thought I'd jump on the train.
Yeah, with having folks in those roles growing up, wow, you definitely had some insight into the industry for sure. So
Yes.
what were you doing before you got into real estate?
So before I got into real estate, let's think here. I was working a number of jobs. I came back from college. I got my 2-year degree, and I knew that definitely wasn't the route that I wanted to take.
Okay.
So I just started working a ton. Things like I was a city worker, cutting down trees. I was doing side projects, bartending, and I knew I wanted to be a real estate agent. I just thought I need to get myself a little bit more ready to kind of jump into that role of real estate. And so that's kind of when the process started.
Okay. And so was there a moment that was like, aha, like what made you finally make the leap?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would have to say it kind of just was like more of a gut feeling. I was like, all right, It's about time. Let's just do it.
Tired of doing all the different jobs and everything else.
Yeah. So I was like, here we go. Let's jump into it. And I met with my mom, who's a loan officer, and she was like, you should talk to my team lead and mentor, Melissa. Okay. And so she FaceTimed her on the spot, and I went to the office the next day, and she was like, get your license. I was like, okay,
cool.
Here we go.
So you did it. So walk us through that process. We won't spend a ton of time, but I'd love to hear, like, our listeners are thinking about a career in real estate, perhaps recently got started, but they're curious. What is the process? Can you walk us through, like, how'd you take your classes? How'd you identify a school? Those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I really didn't shop around at different schools. I pretty much looked it up. I saw Kaplan as the top one. And so I just clicked, okay, sounds good. And I started the licensing process through Kaplan, and I did a all online. So no live classes. I wanted to do it at my own pace because at this point I was still working. I think it was 2 or 3 different jobs. So I was like, okay, let's take my time with it. And I had a mentor who would meet with me once a week and get coffee, and we'd do a couple chapters at a time and really nail down what I needed to know. So I felt super prepared going into the test. I was very lucky or blessed to be able to pass the test on my first time. I know a lot of people have struggled with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of the process. It took me a long time. It took me, I want to say almost 4 months, just because I wasn't here. The first 30 hours, which are like the most key hours that, in my opinion, you could take your test after the first 30. So I hyper-focused the first 30 hours for, it was at least a month and a half. And then I kind of put the next 60 on the back burner once I passed the test. And then I was like, okay, I need to get this done with.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
then it kind of sped up the process.
Unique to your state for sure. And so you said you had a mentor working with you as you worked through the chapters. Was that someone from the real estate firm?
Yes. So my team lead, Melissa, her mentor his name is Rich Kelly. He has been in the industry a long, long time, and he's very, very knowledgeable, just with all the different details, like the very minuscule details. And so he did a really good job explaining to me what I was actually reading, what I was learning. So I was, very, very lucky to be able to get to meet with him on a regular basis and nail down all the different aspects of the real estate tests or courses.
Yeah, you're very fortunate to have that, because that is unique. And I think when you're taking an online program, to have someone that can walk you through when there's not, an instructor available for that, you're very fortunate. So you were working 3 jobs, you're taking these courses. The fact that you got through in 4 months to me is amazing. And basically 4 months to owning your own business, right? Like at the end of 4 months, not bad. So, how long after you completed courses did you have your first transaction?
So I completed my courses in January, and then I actually took a month and went to Kenya on a volunteer trip.
Awesome.
So then I came back in February, and then I had a listing after 3 months. And then, oh my goodness, I call it my most challenging transaction by far. We had it under contract 3 different times. I was meeting with a co-op to try and find a well. It was one of the most unique transactions I've ever had to this day.
Wow.
So yeah, I was at the city pulling permits. It was quite the ordeal, but I learned so much in that first transaction. So I think it closed after five months from when I got licensed.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. What a way to get started. Your most complicated transaction is your very first transaction. So let's dive into that a little bit, because that's cool. That it makes for a good story anyway. I don't know if maybe it was high stress, but how'd you figure it all out? Here you are, newly licensed, super complicated transaction. How'd you do it?
It was a combination of a couple of things. One was do what you can, almost fake it till you make it. Kind of, you're going to learn the ropes as you go. And then combining that also with having, my team lead being able to help coach me and walk me through the different aspects of the transaction. So again, was very blessed to have a resource like that, be able to help coach me through it, as well as just being open to jumping in the fire and figuring it out, essentially.
Yeah. So when you first got licensed, what were your expectations the first year before you faced this complicated transaction right out of the gate? What do you think your first year would look like?
I really thought that it was going to be easier than it was. Okay. I thought it was going to be a lot more smiling and kind of having fun rather than having hard conversations, negotiations. Mm-hmm. The part of the job that really, I think, separates you from, can you do this full time, or is this a friends and family, I'm going to hold my license part-time kind of thing. I set my expectations really, really low. I said, if I don't sell a single house my first year, I'm okay with that as long as I learned. Learning was the biggest thing my first year, and even into my second, was I just want to absorb as much as I can, be a part of as much as I can. And I think that was really one of the best things, that kind of the best mindset I could have had. Then I didn't feel myself, necessarily hungry for the next check and that type of mentality. It was more just, let me be a part of this. Let me absorb what I can, and good things hopefully will happen.
Yes, and they have. So we'll continue to dive into that. When you got licensed, you said you were working multiple jobs. When you finally got your license, did you keep working other multiple jobs for a while?
Yes. So I continued bartending at nights during the weekend,
Okay.
just because the income in real estate is so up in the air until you've kind of built that pipeline, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then I coach on the side, and I coach to this day. It's just a part of my life that I really enjoy.
That's great. What do you coach?
I coach lacrosse, high school,
Okay.
and then a traveling team. So
Wonderful. And is there anything that you think you take from coaching that you can apply to your real estate career? I bet there are.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, simply just coming on and making connections with people. Yes, the people that I'm coaching are, in a younger age bracket than usually people that are buying houses.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have to learn how to have different conversations with them, learn how to emotionally read them, know how to be a support to them. But then also there's going to be times where there's going to be hard conversations, and having those and not shying away from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And just having those people skills and those leadership skills, and maybe you'll inspire some of your team members to go into real estate, right?
Potentially, that'd be great.
Yeah. We're seeing younger and younger folks. So that's great. So here you are, you're in real estate, you grew up around it, but you are new to the business. How did you market yourself and sort of establish credibility, establish your brand? Was that ever a concern for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, being on the younger side of agents, I definitely struggled with kind of, do I really feel qualified? Why would someone want to work with me? And so I think a lot of it is kind of that mental battle of like reassuring yourself that you do know what you're talking about, and there's a reason you're doing this job, and that reason is to help people. Does that kind of answer the question? Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great. So when you started doing your marketing, how'd you market yourself? Was it social media?
Yes.
Was it mailers? Was it how'd you get your name out there?
Definitely social media, for sure. Growing up around in the world of social media, as well as my team lead having a very strong presence on social media, I could see the power that comes with that. And so I started hitting social media really, really hard. I was posting, 3 to 4 times a week, trying different things. I got a lot of recognizability. So in Minnesota, our lakes freeze. And I did this thing called Waterfront Wednesdays, where every Wednesday I'd chop a hole in the ice and I would talk about different lakes in Minnesota, and just different fun facts about them as I get into the lake and sit there freezing. So I know a lot of people enjoyed watching me suffer, and we're right around the corner as the lakes are starting to get a little chilly here. So that was one way that I can kind of think specifically really helped me get my name out there. I mean, as far as credibility, I was posting once a week about different topics in real estate. And for me to sit here with a camera and talk for 60 seconds about, a certain aspect of real estate, I definitely had to know it. And so that kind of would force me to really, really know what I'm talking about. So then I could have these videos and try and educate people.
That's great. I love that. And it is sad that people take pleasure from other people's pain. So there you are freezing on the ice and people are just loving it. That's great. How'd you get your first client?
Facebook Marketplace, actually. So my first listing was a family member's. Was very blessed to have that opportunity. And from that, I had a number of open houses. Open houses played a major part in my first couple transactions for sure. And then still to this day. So I posted my listing on Facebook Marketplace. I had someone reach out wanting to look at it. They ended up actually getting there 30 minutes before our scheduled time and texted me and was like, "Hey, this isn't for me." And I was like, "Oh, I'm just getting in the car." Okay.
Yeah.
And then I kind of transitioned that to setting an appointment. And then from there, I actually got a listing out of it. And he ended up moving 3 hours away, and he found another agent over in that area that specified in that area.
Yeah.
But then I was on the listing side, and that was another complicated transaction for sure. But I'm glad I went through it.
You seem to attract the complicated ones, although I would say, you always hear no two transactions are alike. And so,
100%.
there's probably a lot of complicated ones out there. You mentioned open houses. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Some people swear by them. Some people say, no, they're wasting my time. I don't want to do them. And they pass them to people like you who like to do open houses. Talk to me about the value in open houses and how they've been successful for you.
So, open houses, in my opinion, I think can be one of the best ways to grow your business. When we have new agents join our team, so I'm a mentor on my team now. Cool. When we have new agents join our team, we push open houses, at least try it for 3 months, try it for 6 months, but like really, really try it. Be very specific with the open houses that you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're driving into the middle of the nowhere to a house that's been on the market for 200 days, chances are you are wasting your time. So be very specific with the open houses. That would be one thing I recommend. And then honestly, knowing details about the house, just so that makes conversation with people that are walking in so much easier. And then also just being very comfortable, honestly, scripting, like knowing what you're going to want to say, knowing how people are going to respond, and being able to read the type of person that comes in. There's people that are going to come in that are going to want to talk, they introduce themselves, they want to sit down and have a jolly old time with you. And there's other people that are like, please don't talk to me, don't look at me. I just want to look at this home. So, and you have to find that balance and just kind of really read the person in those initial few seconds based on, you welcoming them into the home. So yeah, that's kind of my recommendations and my take on open houses.
Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. And you mentioned you are now a mentor. You squeeze that in there. Talk a little bit about that and how you became a mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big parts of me becoming a mentor was we made a brokerage change. We were at a former brokerage, and then my team lead got the opportunity to be the broker for Call It Closed International Realty for Minnesota. With that came a lot of agents wanting to join the team, be a part of this new model that we were offering. So her plate, got significantly more full, and she had to pull me and another agent to try and take on some of those newer agents and really kind of get their motor turning, essentially.
Yeah. And what is the most important thing that you try to instill in new agents? Because you were one not too long ago.
Yeah,
and now you're on the other side because you've had such success. So, and congratulations on that. So now what's the most important thing, do you think?
Thank you first. As well as I would say the most important thing that I try and instill would be, I guess, two things. Show up as often as you can, even if it's, you can only give 50% that day, give all 50% that day, right? Don't short yourself by not showing up. And then also kind of on the other side, do business the way you do business. I don't think there's a set model. One thing that works for me isn't necessarily going to work for another. And I think that's one of the great things about real estate is that you can do what works for you and you can be very, very successful doing it.
That's great advice. They're fortunate to have you as a mentor.
Thank you.
Going back to your first year, you just said a couple of things I wanted to dive into. Going back to your first year, when you started, did you target a specific audience, a demographic, buyers or sellers, or were you kind of
I was chomping at the bits for anything I could get that was within reason for driving. I feel like I tend to enjoy the first time home buyers a little bit more just because there's a lot more educating that comes into it. And being a mentor and a coach, educating and helping people really understand something new is something I really take pride in and I feel fulfilled by. So I didn't necessarily target, a specific niche, but I found myself enjoying that type of client probably the most, respectfully saying that, I suppose.
Yes, for sure. Do you work with exclusively buyers? Do you take listings? I do both. I do both. Maybe the day will come where I feel like I can't handle all of it at once. But as of right now, I think
I could be busier. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I haven't really reached that. Oh my goodness, I'm too busy. I need to start turning things away.
Keep it coming, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, all right, next one. Here we go.
Good. So all of this sounds great. I'm sure you had some challenges over your first year. What were the biggest challenges, and how'd you address them?
I would say the biggest challenges, there's kind of two that pop to mind. One is learning how to run your own business. I mean, learning the time management skills, learning how to use a calendar. Oh my goodness, life changer. So if you don't use a calendar, it will change your life. So that was kind of, I'd say the biggest challenge was really figuring out like, what does every single day look like? How do I find that routine? How do I find that? What are the daily things that I'm going to do to make sure that my business is growing or heading in the right direction for sure? Mm-hmm. And then I would say the other one would be learning how to find clients. I mean, I'd say that's a pretty easy one, and one that most people I'd say would struggle with in their first year is, where are your clients coming from? Yeah. How are you going to get people to trust you when you have no track record? So I'd say, yeah, those were kind of the two biggest challenges. And I mean, even challenges to this day, you know, schedules are so fluid, and yes, I've been able to really set a schedule, but you know, showing happens here, you get a call here, and it's like, okay, we got to move some things around. And so being able to really just transition on a day-to-day basis smoothly. Yeah.
And that challenge of how you find clients, how did you do it? Because you found them.
Yeah. I'd say I've been very blessed. I have had open house luck. I've had very good lender relations. Now kind of getting my first few referrals, which is amazing. But still prospecting all the time. I mean, I've done things from door knocking. I haven't really tapped into mailers a whole ton, but you know, something I'd be willing to explore. I haven't really ruled anything out. You know, just calling lead ponds, circle dialing. I mean, really, I was trying it all just to say, you know, what's actually working for me the most, whether it's, you know, connecting with my sphere, posting on social media, hosting those open houses. I mean, a combination of all of those, I'd say I've pulled clients from. That's excellent. And you talked a lot about your calendar. Do you time block? Do you set time aside for yourself? I mean, it sounds like you're very busy. Like, how do you think about your week and planning your week? On Sundays, I try and plan my week, or Mondays. Sundays and Mondays, I usually try and plan my week. And I have, you know, non-negotiables throughout my week that, you know, I'm like, this activity is going to have to happen, right? Whether it's I'm going to call people or set appointments for an hour, or I'm going to be in the office working with team members on social media, or, you know, whatever those activities that I really want to dive into for that week. And then, I mean, things are going to happen, right? You get a showing scheduled on noon, and you're like, okay, well, here we go. So I definitely time block. I don't necessarily time block a lot of time for myself. I don't know. I guess I kind of work a lot, I would say, but I enjoy it. So that's the biggest thing, right? Yeah, for sure. And you're still doing the coaching, right? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Right now is like the lowest amount of coaching that I do on a regular basis. It's only 1 day a week. So it's nothing too intense, but I kind of look at that as like me time as well. So yeah. Still giving back. So, do you have a mentor or a support system that helped you navigate through your first year? I know you had a lot of family sort of in the industry, but were there people, did you rely on them? Were there people within your company? Who'd you call? Absolutely. I mean, it was my team lead, Melissa, by far did the most mentoring for me. When I joined her team, it was a very small team. I am now have been the longest agent on her team, and our team has grown to, I think we're up to like 23 or 24 people. So there's been a lot of change in the last year and a half. That being said, I mean, she was such a great resource for me. And then early on, we had a team member join, and me and him started our accountability agreement. And it's just kind of daily tasks that we have to do, or else we owe the other guy money. And neither of us want to do that. And so that kind of makes sure we are doing the right things on a regular basis, always improving our knowledge, always just really trying to become better people. And with that, he's another resource that we call each other, we bounce ideas off each other. And so having those two people in my life my first year were definitely a big benefit.
Yes, you're very fortunate. Those folks are so valuable. Did you go through any additional education or coursework or training or coaching after you went through sort of the required by the state education?
Not really. I feel like with Call It Close, which I suppose we weren't with them my first year, but really just the training that we got through our team. We would do, we still to this day do weekly trainings on everything from open house tactics to contracts to, I mean, pretty much everything there really is to learn, negotiations. And so I never felt like I needed more training or more coaching. I mean, I've done continuing education that's, required by the state. And so I try and actually take that and value it and try and pull some knowledge from it, just because I think once you stop learning, I just think things start to go downhill. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you never stopped learning and you are going through training. It's just within your organization, and it's so valuable that the company is investing in you and helping you grow, and you are getting that training. So that's excellent. So Carson, are there any funny, memorable experiences from your early days when you were still learning and maybe did something wrong? Like, we're all human, right? Mistakes happen.
Totally.
Anything you can think of?
I don't know if this is necessarily funny. It's on the memorable side for sure. I had clients and we were supposed to close in 4 days. And I actually had taken that weekend off to go on a weekend trip. So I'm at a cabin and I get a call from the lender on the file telling me that their underwriter missed a really important piece of information and that we definitely were not closing in 4 days. And so having that conversation with my clients was certainly difficult, but we ended up finding a home that they loved 10 times the amount and actually was at a lower price. So it saved them more money. We were able to get a ton of seller paid closing costs. So it was less money out of their pocket. They enjoyed the house more. So that was definitely a very memorable moment. First time home buyer. So just being able to navigate, okay, this is my first time this has happened. I've never had, okay, we're 4 days from closing. I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to close that. No, we're not. And so learning how to handle that as an agent, and then also help my first time home buyers, who have this, had a beautiful baby girl. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're so ready to move into this house. So that was definitely a moment that I will probably always remember.
Yeah. Well, things have a funny way of working themselves out. So it sounds like it did in this case for sure.
Yes.
How do you build relationships with your clients? Like, how do you nurture those relationships, either like for the first time or ongoing, to ensure those referrals?
I try to just genuinely be myself. I mean, just down to, I don't want to work with someone that doesn't want to work with me. So I'm going to be myself. And if that relationship sparks and I feel like I can help them and they feel like I can help them, just kind of building that rapport, finding those things in common, finding those things to laugh about, to enjoy the experience, because it's such a stressful experience being, making such a large investment. In my opinion, one of the best investments you can make. But at the end of the day, it's a big step, and just trying to alleviate as much stress as possible. Let's enjoy this process, right? And let's not be super stressed about it. And so kind of like just framing it right away is like, hey, I want this to be an enjoyable process. I'm not promising you by any means that everything is going to go as smoothly as possible, but let's try and, ride this tidal wave, you could say. So I would say that's kind of really just being myself, and then just trying to find things in common would be the way.
I love that approach, though. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride while you're going through it. That's wonderful. So, Carson, what's next for you? Where do you see yourself in, say, 5 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. 5 years, it's and this is something my team lead knows, is that I have aspirations of starting my own team.
Yeah.
In 5 years, I would kind of like to be there, either at the beginning stages of starting my own team. I have another business partner who has expressed interest in trying to start something with me. And I mean, Melissa has been roped in on all of this, so this is not like a blindside by any means. But I would say 5 years from now, I'd love to be starting my own team and kind of taking that next step as a leader, to really try and get to that level, because my goal eventually is not to be an active agent forever. I really want to get to the coaching side. I want to be able to coach agents and have that be my main priority and focus, just because I feel like coaching is such a passion of mine, to where, I mean, I'll be an active agent, I'll always hold my license, but not that constant prospecting, that constant go, go, go. I'd love to instill that in other people and help them get to the point to where I'm hoping to get to still.
It's a great plan, Carson. I have no doubt that you're going to get there. So
thank you.
And you have the vision. So yeah, absolutely. Carson, next we're going to jump into our lightning round. We do this on every episode. Just a couple of fun questions, 60 seconds or less, just the first thing that comes to your mind. We're going to start with what is a book or a podcast that you've either read or listened to that you would recommend to the audience, and why?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Easily that one. Easily. I've probably read it 2 times now. I read it for the first time a couple months ago, and I just don't really think there's a better book you can read to genuinely teach you, like, actively, like, things you can put into your day-to-day life to help you become better at talking to people, creating relationships, forming those genuine relationships that are so crucial for this job, and just people in life. I would recommend that book for anybody, truthfully.
Yeah, anybody. That's a great one. I'm surprised that one doesn't come up more often. That is a great one.
Yeah.
If we had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey, what would you do differently, or what advice would you give yourself?
I'd start using my calendar earlier, for sure. On another note, I would tell myself to try and enjoy it a little bit more. I got so stressed out, throughout these transactions, trying to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Things are going to go wrong. I mean, 100%. And really just being able to navigate those situations and not get so stressed out about it. Because at the end of the day, the clock's going to keep ticking and the days are going to move on and things are going to continue to happen. Do what you can to control what you can control.
Yeah.
And that would pretty much be it.
Yeah. It's good advice in real estate or otherwise. Good.
100%.
Solid advice.
Yes.
If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I mean, first thing that pops to mind is probably like Matthew McConaughey. I feel like he is a very intriguing person with a lot of knowledge. And I think the conversation with him would be, so knowledgeable. And I think it would be just a really cool conversation.
Yeah, that would be fun. If you get that dinner, give me an invite. I'd love to join.
Absolutely. I'll work on that.
All right. I'm going to follow up with you soon. Carson, what'd you do at work yesterday?
Ooh, where's my calendar? Truthfully, let me see. I had an appointment at 8, a little coffee just with a friend of mine, former client, kind of sphere. And then I had a commercial listing appointment, which is the first one I've ever had. So that was really cool to learn.
Exciting.
From there, I went to the office, set up a showing for today. Got a call from an online lead and they wanted to go look at the listing I have. And so set that up. And then I ended up coaching that evening. And I think I posted on social media. I recorded a little bit. The checking emails always forever. Yeah. And then I ended up coaching and then went over to my buddies and had a fire in the driveway.
Sounds like a great day. Great day. Any tips or tricks that you would share with aspiring real estate professionals?
Ooh. I feel like I've already said it, but just really invest in yourself, like know what you're talking about, and then just show up like every day, or, if it's 6 days a week, show up 6 days a week. If it's 1 day a week and you're part-time, show up for that day and hit it as hard as you can. And then never stop learning. Always try and learn, what's the next thing that's coming? What's something that maybe I need to focus on more because I got a question about it and I didn't know it that well, right? So just always trying to maintain that ever-going learning process, that growth mindset, I feel like you could almost say.
Yeah, it's good advice. Good advice. Carson, where can listeners and viewers connect with you or follow your journey?
Absolutely. I'm on a couple different social media platforms. It's carson.is.closing. I'd say I'm the most active on my Instagram and my Facebook. Email is carson@clausenhomegroup.com. If you ever want to shoot me an email, I'm checking those all the time. So, or if you want to just see me freeze in the water, you can check out the Instagram and Facebook. So, yeah.
I think you might get a lot of takers on that and Perfect. Check it out. So this has been wonderful. Appreciate your time. I know you'll be an inspiration to individuals who are looking to start careers in real estate. And good luck to you, my friend. It sounds like you've got a very bright future ahead.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on. This was an absolute blast.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to unlockingrealestate@colibrirealestate.com.